The sound of silence, a pause. Then a voice cuts through the darkness. You know what separates the people who make it from the people who don't? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not connections or money or the family you were born into. It's something so simple, so brutally honest, that most people refuse to accept it. It's what you do when no one is watching. It's what you do when the world is asleep. It's what you do at 4 in the morning when every fiber of your being is screaming at you to hit that snooze button one more time. 4 a.m. Let me say that again. 4 a.m. While the rest of the world is dreaming, the unstoppable ones are building. While everyone else is comfortable in their warm beds, convinced they'll start tomorrow, the ones who actually make it happen are already 3 hours into their day. And I'm not here to sugarcoat this for you. I'm not here to tell you it's easy. I'm here to tell you the truth, the raw, unfiltered truth that nobody wants to hear, but everybody needs to understand. I remember when I was 17 years old, freshly crowned Miss World, standing on that stage thinking my life was figured out. I thought success had arrived. I thought I had made it, but you want to know what happened? Reality hit me like a freight train. I moved to a country where I didn't know anyone, where I had 3 Hindi films lined up, but had no idea how to act, where my accent was different, where everything I thought I knew about myself was challenged every single day, and I had a choice. I could sleep in. I could take it easy. I could tell myself that I'd already accomplished enough, or I could wake up at 4 in the morning and outwork every single person who thought they were better than me. I chose the latter. And that choice, that one decision to wake up when it hurt, to push when I wanted to quit, to show up when no one expected me to, that's what changed everything. Because here's what I learned: success isn't a destination. It's not a trophy you win or a title you earn and then you're done. Success is a daily practice. It's a commitment you make to yourself when no one else believes in you. It's the discipline to do what needs to be done even when you absolutely don't feel like doing it. Let me paint you a picture. It's 4 a.m. Your alarm goes off. In that moment, you have 2 voices in your head. One voice says, "You're tired. You worked hard yesterday. You deserve rest. 5 more minutes won't hurt." The other voice, the quieter one, the one that's often drowned out by comfort and convenience, whispers, "Get up. This is your moment. This is where champions are made." Which voice do you listen to? Because I promise you, the voice you choose in that moment determines everything. It determines whether you're going to be someone who talks about their dreams or someone who actually lives them. I've walked red carpets all over the world. I've stood in front of cameras worth millions of dollars. I've signed contracts that changed my life. But none of that, and I mean none of that, compares to the victories I won at 4 in the morning when nobody was watching. Those were the moments that built the foundation for everything else. Those were the hours when I transformed from someone who had potential into someone who had results. You see, most people have dreams. They have vision boards and journals, and they talk a big game about what they're going to do. But when that alarm goes off at 4 a.m., when their body is sore, when their mind is foggy, when every logical reason says stay in bed, they choose comfort. And comfort is the enemy of greatness. Comfort is the thief of dreams. Comfort is what separates the people who could have been something from the people who actually became something. I want you to understand something fundamental about human nature. We are creatures of habit. What we do every day becomes who we are. If you wake up late, rush through your morning, react to your day instead of creating it, that becomes your identity. You become a person who is always catching up, always behind, always making excuses for why things didn't work out. But if you wake up at 4 a.m., if you take control of your morning before the world can make demands on you, if you invest in yourself before you invest in anything else, that becomes your identity. You become unstoppable. And I know what some of you are thinking. But I'm not a morning person. Let me tell you something. I wasn't either. Nobody is born a morning person. That's not a genetic trait coded into your DNA. It's a choice. It's a habit. It's a discipline that you build one day at a time. The first day you wake up at 4 a.m., it's going to be brutal. The second day might be worse, but by day 7, something shifts. By day 30, it becomes normal. By day 90, you can't imagine living any other way because you've tasted what it feels like to be ahead. You've experienced the power of having 3 hours of uninterrupted time to work on your craft, your body, your mind, your dreams before the rest of the world even opens their eyes. There's a quote that changed my life. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. Steve Jobs said that, and it's true. But here's what people miss. Even when you love what you do, there are going to be days when you don't feel like doing it. There are going to be mornings when your body aches, when your motivation is nowhere to be found, when the gap between where you are and where you want to be feels impossibly wide. That's when the 4 a.m. mindset saves you. Because at 4 a.m., you're not relying on motivation. You're operating on something much more powerful, discipline. Motivation is like a fair weather friend. It shows up when things are going well, when you're excited, when you can see the finish line. But discipline is there in the trenches with you. Discipline wakes you up when motivation sleeps in. Discipline keeps you going when motivation has abandoned you. And discipline is built in those quiet hours of the morning when you honor the commitment you made to yourself, even though no one would know if you broke it. I think about the years I spent going from audition to audition, being told I wasn't Indian enough for Bollywood, wasn't American enough for Hollywood. There were so many moments when I could have given up. So many mornings when staying in bed would have been easier than facing another rejection. But I had made a promise to myself. At 4 a.m., I would get up, I would train, I would study, I would prepare. Because I understood that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And if I wanted to be lucky, I had to be prepared. That meant putting in the hours when no one was counting, showing up when no one was applauding, believing in myself when the entire world was giving me reasons not to. Here's a truth that might sting a little bit. Your competition is outworking you. Right now, while you're sleeping, someone else is up grinding. While you're scrolling through social media, someone else is studying their craft. While you're hitting snooze, someone else is already 2 hours into their workout. And that gap between what you're doing and what they're doing, that's what determines who wins. That's what determines who gets the role, who gets the promotion, who builds the business, who achieves the dream. Success isn't complicated. It's just hard. And most people aren't willing to do hard things consistently. But you're not most people. I know that because you're still here. You're still listening. Something inside you knows that you're capable of more. Something inside you is hungry for greatness. And that something, that fire, that's what you need to fan into flames at 4 in the morning. That's when you feed your ambition. That's when you strengthen your resolve. That's when you become the person you're meant to be. Let me tell you about fear. Fear is loud. It's convincing. It tells you all the reasons why you can't, why you shouldn't, why you're not ready. Fear is the voice that says you need more time, more resources, more certainty before you take action. And fear loves to visit you in the early morning hours when you're tired and vulnerable. Fear whispers that you're wasting your time, that your dreams are too big, that you should just accept your current reality and stop reaching for more. But here's what I learned about fear. It's a liar. Every single time I've pushed through fear, every single time I've done the thing that terrified me, I've grown, I've expanded. I've proven to myself that I'm capable of more than I believed. At 4 a.m., when you're pushing through the discomfort of leaving your warm bed, you're not just waking up early, you're practicing courage. You're teaching yourself that you can do hard things. You're building evidence that you're someone who keeps their word to themselves. And that evidence, that track record of following through, that becomes the foundation of unshakable confidence. Not the fake confidence that crumbles at the first sign of difficulty, but real confidence built on real action taken consistently over time. I want to talk about sacrifice because nobody wants to mention this part. Waking up at 4 a.m. means going to bed early. It means saying no to late nights out. It means making choices that your friends won't understand. It means being different, and being different is uncomfortable. Humans are wired to fit in, to be part of the tribe. When you start waking up at 4 a.m., when you start taking your dreams seriously, some people won't get it. They'll call you obsessed. They'll say you're working too hard. They'll try to pull you back down to their level because your ambition makes them uncomfortable with their own complacency. But here's what you need to understand. The people who criticize your dedication, who mock your early mornings, who tell you you're doing too much, those people aren't going where you're going. They're not built for the journey you're on. And that's okay. Not everyone is supposed to come with you. Some people are meant to be in your life for a season, to teach you what you don't want to become. And when you outgrow them, when your 4 a.m. hustle creates a life they can't relate to anymore, you have to have the courage to keep going anyway. I've lost relationships because I chose my dreams. I've missed parties and gatherings and moments that seemed important at the time because I was working. And I won't lie to you and say it didn't hurt. It did. But you know what hurt more? The thought of being 80 years old and wondering what could have been. The thought of playing small because I was afraid of being judged. The thought of letting fear or comfort or other people's opinions dictate my life. That was unacceptable to me, and it should be unacceptable to you too. Every morning at 4 a.m., you're making a choice. You're either choosing your future or you're choosing your comfort. You can't have both. You can't build an extraordinary life with ordinary effort. You can't achieve exceptional results with average commitment. The math doesn't work. The universe doesn't bend that way. If you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. And for most people, that something is waking up at 4 in the morning and using those silent hours to build the life they claim they want. I remember filming Quantico, being the first South Asian woman to headline an American network drama series. The pressure was immense. The eyes on me were countless. Every day I had to prove that I belonged there, that I deserved that opportunity, that I could carry a show. And some days the weight of it all felt crushing. But then I'd remember my 4 a.m. mornings. I'd remember all those hours I put in when no one believed in me but me. I'd remember the scripts I studied, the accents I practiced, the doubts I pushed through. And that memory gave me strength. It reminded me that I wasn't lucky. I was prepared. I had earned my place. That's what the 4 a.m. mindset does. It builds an internal reservoir of strength that you can draw from when external circumstances get tough. It creates a history of overcoming that you can reference when new challenges arise. Every morning you beat the alarm. You're depositing into your mental bank account. And when life tries to withdraw from you, when it tests you and pushes you and demands more than you think you can give, you'll have reserves. You'll have proof that you're tougher than your circumstances. Let's talk about focus for a minute. In today's world, everyone is distracted. Everyone is pulled in a million directions. Social media, emails, notifications, demands from other people, there's always something competing for your attention. But at 4 a.m., the world is quiet. There are no emails coming in. Nobody is calling you. Social media is dead. It's just you and your goals. That's why 4 a.m. is sacred. That's why it's powerful. It's uninterrupted time to work on what matters most. No distractions, no excuses. Just pure focus on becoming better than you were yesterday. And when you protect those morning hours, when you treat them as non-negotiable, something magical happens. Your progress accelerates. What used to take you months starts taking weeks. What used to feel impossible starts feeling inevitable. Because focused work, deep work, uninterrupted work on your highest priorities, that's the secret. That's what creates breakthrough results. Not multitasking. Not doing a little bit of everything, but doing the most important thing with all of your energy and attention for extended periods of time. I've learned that success leaves clues. Every person I admire, every person who has built something extraordinary has a version of the 4 a.m. mindset. They might not literally wake up at 4, but they all have a time where they do their most important work, where they invest in themselves, where they protect their peak energy for what matters most. They understand that average inputs create average outputs. If you want exceptional results, you need exceptional inputs. And exceptional inputs require sacrifice, discipline, and a willingness to do what others won't. There's a concept I want you to understand. It's called compound interest, but not the financial kind. I'm talking about the compound interest of daily habits. When you wake up at 4 a.m. and invest 2 hours in yourself, that's 2 hours. It doesn't sound life-changing, but 2 hours a day for a year is 730 hours. That's over 30 full days. 30 full days of focused work on your craft, your body, your mind, your business. Do you understand what you could build with 30 full days of uninterrupted focus? Most people don't give themselves 30 hours, let alone 30 days. And then they wonder why their lives don't change. Small daily actions compound over time. They don't add up, they multiply. The discipline you build at 4 a.m. doesn't just make you better at waking up early. It makes you better at everything. It teaches you that you're capable of doing hard things. It rewires your brain to seek discomfort instead of avoiding it. It builds a version of you that's addicted to progress instead of comfort, and that version of you that's unstoppable. That version of you doesn't make excuses. That version of you doesn't quit when things get hard. That version of you shows up regardless of circumstances. I want to address something important. Some of you are thinking, but I have responsibilities. I have kids. I have a job. I can't just wake up at 4 a.m. Let me tell you something. The people with the most excuses usually have the least results. And the people with the most challenges often achieve the most because they have to. They don't have the luxury of waiting for perfect conditions. They have to make it work now with what they have from where they are. If you have kids, wake up before them. If you work long hours, wake up before your shift. If you're exhausted, go to bed earlier. There's always a way. The question isn't whether you can. The question is whether you will. Because here's the brutal truth. Your excuses are protecting you from your potential. They're a shield you've built to avoid confronting the gap between who you are and who you could be. And as long as you hide behind those excuses, as long as you let circumstances dictate your actions, you'll stay exactly where you are. Maybe that's fine for some people, but it's not fine for you. Deep down, you know you're meant for more. You know you have something inside you that's waiting to be unleashed. And it's never going to happen if you keep choosing comfort over growth. Let me share something vulnerable with me. There have been times in my life when I've failed, times when I've made mistakes, when I've chosen wrong, when I've fallen short of my own standards. And in those moments, the 4 a.m. practice is what saved me. Because no matter how badly I messed up yesterday, I could wake up at 4 a.m. and start again. I could use those quiet morning hours to reflect, to learn, to strategize, to rebuild. The 4 a.m. mindset isn't about being perfect. It's about being committed. It's about showing up even when you don't want to, especially when you don't want to, because that's when it matters most. Resilience isn't built when things are easy. It's built when things are hard and you keep going anyway. It's built when you fail and you get back up. It's built when you're knocked down 7 times and you stand up 8. And every morning at 4 a.m. is an opportunity to practice resilience, to practice showing up, to practice doing the right thing even when it's difficult. That practice, that daily training in discomfort, that's what prepares you for life's inevitable challenges. Because challenges will come. Obstacles will appear. And when they do, you need to be ready. You need to be strong. You need to be someone who doesn't crumble under pressure. I've been in rooms where I was underestimated, rooms where people looked at me and saw my accent, my background, my gender, and assumed I didn't belong. And those moments could have broken me. They could have made me bitter or angry or caused me to quit. But instead, they fueled me. They reminded me why I wake up at 4 a.m. They reminded me that success is the best revenge. Not the petty kind of revenge, but the kind where you prove everyone wrong by becoming undeniable. where you work so hard, achieve so much, and become so excellent that no one can ignore you, no one can discount you, and no one can stop you. That's what the 4 a.m. mindset creates. It creates unstoppable momentum, because when you're working while others sleep, learning while others scroll, building while others watch TV, you're creating a gap that becomes impossible to close. You're gaining ground every single day. And at first, nobody notices. Your friends don't see it. Your family doesn't see it. The world doesn't see it. But you see it. You feel yourself getting stronger, sharper, better. And that knowledge, that internal awareness of your own growth, that becomes your fuel. There will be mornings when you wake up at 4 and you feel like you're not making progress. When the results you want seem far away. When doubt creeps in and whispers that all this work isn't worth it. Those are the most important mornings. Those are the mornings that separate the pretenders from the contenders, because anyone can wake up early when they're motivated, when they can see the finish line, when success feels close. But waking up early when you can't see the results yet, when faith is all you have, that's what builds character. That's what builds the kind of unshakable belief that nothing can touch. I believe in the power of visualization, but not the kind where you just sit and imagine success and hope it appears. I'm talking about combining visualization with action. At 4 a.m., before the world wakes up, visualize your day. See yourself handling challenges with grace. See yourself performing at your highest level. See yourself as the person you're becoming, and then take action aligned with that vision. Work on your craft, study your industry, improve your skills, because vision without action is just a daydream. But vision plus action, that's a blueprint for inevitable success. You have to understand something about timing. There's never going to be a perfect time to start. There's never going to be a moment when all the stars align, when you have no responsibilities, when you feel completely ready. That moment doesn't exist. The perfect time to start was years ago. The second best time is right now, today, this moment, not tomorrow, not next Monday, not after the holidays. Now, because every day you wait is another day your dreams remain out of reach. Every day you delay is another day your potential stays locked inside you. And starting is the hardest part. That first alarm at 4 a.m. is brutal. Your body rebels. Your mind creates 1,000 reasons to quit before you begin. But you have to push through that initial resistance. You have to honor the commitment you made to yourself. Because if you can't keep a promise to yourself, how can you expect to keep promises to anyone else? If you can't be disciplined when no one is watching, how will you be disciplined when everyone is watching? The private victories always precede the public ones. Let me tell you what happens when you commit to the 4 a.m. lifestyle. First, you gain time. Not just the 3 extra hours in your morning, but time in your entire life. Because when you invest in yourself early, when you sharpen your skills and expand your capacity, you become more efficient. You accomplish more in less time. You make better decisions. You avoid mistakes that cost you months or years. Second, you gain clarity. There's something about the quiet of early morning that brings mental clarity. Problems that seemed unsolvable at night have obvious solutions at 4 a.m. The noise of the world hasn't cluttered your mind yet. You can think clearly, strategically, creatively. Third, you gain confidence. Real confidence. The kind that comes from knowing you're doing the work. The kind that comes from keeping your word to yourself. The kind that comes from evidence that you're becoming better. This isn't fake it till you make it confidence. This is I've earned it confidence. And when you walk into a room with that kind of confidence, people feel it. They respond to it. Opportunities open up because you carry yourself differently. You speak differently. You think differently. Fourth, you gain health. When you wake up at 4 a.m., you have time to exercise, to prepare healthy meals, to take care of your body. Most people say they don't have time to work out or eat right. But that's because they're not creating time. They're waiting for time to appear. At 4 a.m., you create the time. You prioritize your health before everything else demands your attention. And when your body is strong, when you have energy, when you feel good physically, everything else becomes easier. Fifth, you gain respect. Maybe not immediately, but eventually people notice. They notice that you're different. They notice that you're committed. They notice that you're serious about your goals, and people respect dedication. They respect discipline. Even the people who don't understand it, even the people who wouldn't do it themselves, they respect it. And that respect translates into opportunities, into relationships, into doors opening that would have stayed closed. I think about the auditions I went to where I was the only one who looked like me, the rooms where I felt out of place, where imposter syndrome screamed in my ear that I didn't belong. Those moments were defining. I had a choice. I could believe the doubts, or I could believe in the work I put in at 4 a.m. I chose to believe in the work. I chose to trust that all those hours of preparation had equipped me for this moment. And that trust, that belief in my own preparation, that's what got me through. Your 4 a.m. practice is your secret weapon. It's the ace up your sleeve that nobody knows about. While your competition is relying on talent alone, you're building skill. While they're hoping for lucky breaks, you're creating opportunities through preparation. While they're making excuses, you're making progress. And eventually, inevitably, all that work in the dark comes to light. Your moment arrives, and when it does, you're ready. Not kind of ready, not hoping to be ready. Completely, undeniably, unstoppably ready. There's a phrase I love. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. But here's what people miss. Opportunities come to everyone. They knock on every door. But most people aren't prepared when opportunity knocks. They're still in bed. They're still getting ready. They're still waiting for the perfect moment to start preparing. And by the time they answer the door, opportunity has moved on to the next person. The person who was already awake. The person who had been preparing. The person who wakes up at 4 a.m. I want to challenge you. I want to challenge every excuse you've ever made about why you can't wake up early. Every reason you've given yourself permission to hit snooze. Every rationalization for why your dreams can wait. Because the truth is, they can't. Life is short. Brutally, terrifyingly short. The years pass faster than you think. And one day you'll look back at this moment right now, and you'll either be grateful that you started, or you'll be full of regret that you didn't. Which one do you want? Do you want to be the person at 60 who says, I wonder what could have been? Or do you want to be the person at 60 who says, I'm so glad I did that? That choice, that decision, it's made at 4 in the morning. It's made in those quiet, lonely hours when nobody is cheering you on, when nobody is holding you accountable, when it's just you and your commitment. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. The 4 a.m. lifestyle is hard. Some days it's going to feel impossible. Some mornings you're going to want to quit. You're going to question whether it's worth it. You're going to be tired. You're going to be sore. You're going to wonder if all this sacrifice is really necessary. And in those moments, I need you to remember why you started. I need you to remember the dreams you have. I need you to remember the person you want to become. Because that person, that future version of you, they're counting on present you to do the work. They're depending on you to show up. And here's something beautiful. Every time you wake up at 4 a.m., every time you push through when you want to quit, you're not just working toward your goals. You're proving something to yourself. You're proving that you're reliable. You're proving that you're strong. You're proving that you're serious. And that proof builds trust, self-trust, the most important trust there is. Because if you can trust yourself to do what you say you're going to do, there's nothing you can't accomplish. Let me paint a picture of what your life looks like a year from now if you commit to this. You wake up at 4 a.m. It's not a struggle anymore. It's automatic. You've transformed your body. You've mastered new skills. You've made significant progress toward your biggest goals. You've read 50 books. You've built relationships with people who inspire you. You've created opportunities that didn't exist before. You've become a person you're proud of. And when you look in the mirror, you don't see someone who talks about dreams. You see someone who lives them. Compare that to a year from now if you don't change anything. You're still hitting snooze. You're still making excuses. You're still talking about what you're going to do someday. You're still waiting for the perfect moment. You're still exactly where you are right now, maybe even further behind because time doesn't stop. it keeps moving. And while you've been standing still, everyone else who made the decision to commit, everyone else who chose 4 a.m., they've lapped you. They're so far ahead that catching up seems impossible. Which version of your future do you want? Because you're creating it right now with the decisions you make. Every snooze button hit is a vote for staying where you are. Every early morning wake up is a vote for becoming who you're meant to be. You're voting with your actions. And the results of that vote, they're coming. They're inevitable. The question is just what result you're voting for. I've traveled the world. I've achieved things that once seemed impossible. I've been blessed beyond measure. But I can tell you with absolute certainty that none of it would have happened without discipline. Without the commitment to do what needed to be done when I didn't feel like doing it. Without those 4 a.m. mornings when I built the foundation for everything that came after. The glamorous life you see, the red carpets, the success. That's the reward for years of unglamorous work that nobody saw. That's the payoff for all those mornings when I chose growth over comfort. And you can have that too. Whatever your version of success looks like, whatever dream lives in your heart, it's available to you. But you have to be willing to pay the price. You have to be willing to sacrifice what you are for what you will become. You have to be willing to endure the lonely mornings, the tired days, the doubts and fears and setbacks. Because on the other side of all that struggle is a life that most people only dream about. A life where you're in control. A life where you're creating instead of consuming. A life where you're living your purpose instead of just existing. The 4 a.m. mindset isn't just about waking up early. It's a philosophy. It's a way of life. It's a commitment to excellence. It's a refusal to settle. It's a declaration that you're going to be the best version of yourself no matter what it costs. And when you adopt that mindset, when you truly internalize it, everything changes, your standards rise, your circle changes, your opportunities expand, your entire reality shifts, because you've shifted who you are at your core. I want you to make a promise to yourself right now. Not to me, but to yourself. Promise that you're going to try. Promise that you're going to set your alarm for 4 a.m. tomorrow and you're going to get up. Just tomorrow. Don't think about next week or next month. Just commit to tomorrow. And when that alarm goes off, when your body is heavy and your bed is comfortable and every logical reason says stay, I want you to remember this moment. Remember that you made a promise. Remember that your future self is watching. Remember that you're capable of more than you've shown. And get up and use those quiet morning hours to work on yourself. Read, write, exercise, study, plan. Whatever moves you closer to your dreams, do that, and notice how it feels. Notice the sense of accomplishment. Notice the pride. Notice how you carry yourself differently throughout the day. Notice that you kept a promise to yourself. And then do it again the next day. And the day after that, not because it's easy, but because you're becoming someone who does hard things, someone who keeps their word, someone who's unstoppable. Because that's what this is really about. It's not about the hour you wake up. It's about the person you become through the process of waking up. It's about building mental toughness. It's about developing discipline. It's about creating a version of yourself that refuses to quit. And once you've created that version, once you've proven to yourself that you can do hard things consistently, there's nothing life can throw at you that you can't handle. You become bulletproof. Not because life stops challenging you, but because you've trained yourself to rise to every challenge. So I'm going to leave you with this. Your life is happening right now, not someday. Not when conditions are perfect, right now. And what you do with this moment, this day, this hour, it matters. It's creating your future. So stop waiting, stop hoping, stop wishing, and start doing. And start showing up. Start being the person you know you're capable of being. Wake up at 4 a.m. and show yourself what you're made of. Show yourself that you're not just someone with dreams, but someone with the discipline to make those dreams real. The world is waiting for the best version of you. Your family is waiting. Your future is waiting. And they can't wait forever. So wake up, show up, and become unstoppable. Because you already have everything you need inside you. You just need to be willing to do the work to bring it out. And that work, it starts at 4 in the morning when the world is asleep and winners are being made. This is your moment. This is your time. Don't let it slip away. Wake up at 4 a.m. and let me see what you're truly capable of. Let the world see. But most importantly, let yourself see. Because once you see your own power, once you understand what you can accomplish when you're committed, nothing will ever be the same. You'll be unstoppable. And that's exactly what you were always meant to be. Now go. Make it happen. I believe in you. Do you believe in you? Prove it. 4 a.m. tomorrow and every day after. This is where your transformation begins. This is where you become the person you were destined to be. Don't just listen to these words, live them. Your extraordinary life is waiting. Go claim it. Retreat.